Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the virtual Two-Way Street Coffee House. We want you to know that while we would absolutely love to be holding our usual live shows at the coffee house and being in the vicinity, in close vicinity of all of our patrons, obviously we're not able to do that because of safety concerns for both the volunteers and the musicians and our patrons. And so we are working very hard behind the scenes to present as much music as we possibly can with many of our favorite artists, and we're doing so in this virtual format. Before I introduce tonight's artists, I want to mention a couple of special participatory events that are coming up very soon. The first one is actually tomorrow afternoon. Once in a Blue Moon Bluegrass Gathering featuring Eric Lambert. Eric has done this every fifth Saturday for the last 3/4 of a year, and it's a lot of fun. We're doing that on Zoom. If you would like to join us for that bluegrass event, it's probably going to be a little bit teach you a song, a little bit song circle, and a little bit of Eric playing for us. If you would like to join that event, you can check on our website, and the link for the Zoom meeting for Eric's Bluegrass Jam is on our website right now. It is also on our Facebook page. There is no password, just let yourself in. We do have a donation button up because we do like to support our artists, and Eric is extra special effort for this one. So if you do come to participate or to watch, which is welcomed, please do donate to him. The next thing we need to announce is, before we introduce February Sky, is that next weekend is a big weekend for us. Next weekend on our stage, we have Sparky and Rhonda appearing on Friday night. And then what we really need you to be aware of is this year, the Fox Valley Folk Music and Storytelling Festival has gone virtual. There are going to be concerts on Saturday and Sunday evenings, and there are stages of music and storytelling going on in the afternoon on Sunday and Monday. And let's see, what else do I need to tell you about that? Oh, yes. Their website, if you want to keep track of their schedule when it is posted, is FVFS, Fox Valley Folk Society, FVFS.org. FVFS.org, easy to remember, and they're gradually posting more and more information about the virtual festival. The wonderful duo that's, let's see, they would be to your right of me, to the right of me as you're looking. February Sky, Phil and Susan have been wonderful, wonderful friends, practically family of the Two-Way Street Coffee House for years and years and years. We were going to present them live at the end of the summer, but unfortunately, COVID had the last word on live performances, so we did invite them to do a virtual concert. So in a second, they're going to take over. And also, I want to remind you that they also have on our website, they have a donation button. It's specifically for February Sky. So if you enjoy the concert, please tip generously, because this is the way our artists are surviving during this particular crisis. They are also appearing on the Folk Festival next weekend on Monday afternoon, and that's scheduled actually on Sunday afternoon and also on Monday afternoon, but that schedule is not finalized. So you have a chance to hear February Sky tonight and again next weekend, and do sign on, donate to the festival so it can continue next year when we do not have this viral challenge to deal with. And donate generously. That is how they pay the artists for the festival. That is absolutely all I need to say. Now it's time to turn it over to Phil Cooper and Susan Urban. February Sky. Let's give them a big welcome.
Thank you all so much. Well, this is, we were just talking about the fact that we're actually a little more nervous about doing this virtual show, even though we're at our own house, than we were for doing live ones. But we're going to start right off with a tune I made up about one of our cats. So it's called Belmont's Blanket, but it's modeled after 13th century Italian dance music. So it sounds a lot like this. next song we have on the list is basically an Irish song. We learned it from the group that played at the folk festival several times back in the late 80s, early 90s, the Gaping Maw. Bridget Malone was the main mastermind of that band. And this is a traditional Irish song called Slieve Gallen Braes, but it takes two of us to sing it as well as Bridget could do it.
We identify with this one because we actually get to live in the land that has claimed our hearts. And when we weren't here, we missed it. And how much harder must it be to have to leave that special place and never, ever be able to go back.
As I was a-walking one morning in May, to view yon fair mountains and valleys so gay, I was thinking of the flowers all going to decay, as they grow round ye bonny, bonny Slieve Gallen Braes. How oft in the morning with my dog and my gun I like to go roving for joy and for fun, but those days they are all over and I must go away. So farewell unto ye bonny, bonny Slieve Gallen Braes. How oft in the evening with the sun in the west I roved hand in hand with the one I love best, but the hopes of youth are vanished and I am far away. So farewell unto ye bonny, bonny Slieve Gallen Braes. It was not for the want of employment at home that caused all this untold Ireland to roam, but those tyrannizing landlords, they would not let us stay. So farewell unto ye bonny, bonny Slieve Gallen Braes, for the rents were getting higher and we could no longer pay. So farewell unto ye bonny, bonny Slieve Gallen Braes. Well, the way February Sky works is I find these traditional songs and we make up our arrangements of them or make up tunes. Mozart was a composer, I just make up tunes. And Susan's the one with songwriting disease. And now that she's got her dulcimer up, she can tell you what that entails.
Ah, yes, well, songwriter's disease is terminal and incurable. And here's a song that, well, you know, we get these new age folks telling us that we need to listen to our inner voice, and that if we do that, we'll always be steered to be on the right track, and everything in our lives will go perfectly. And, well, we think that's actually pretty good advice.
My inner voice is usually saying, "Shut up, Phil."
And of course, there are many times when that is the best advice of all, because there are instances where anything that we can say is not going to help any. So the song's an argument between those two parts of yourself that want to make those tactless comments,
Even if they're true.
especially if they're true, and that one other one that says, don't do that. Part for you at the end of each chorus, there's only two. There's a line that says, especially when the message that it's shouting is, shut up! I don't know if you guys are into participating at home. Some people find that a little weird. Others love it, so you can join in on that.
It's your chance to participate in a chorus song while telling the singer to shut up, and it may be the only officially sanctioned chance you ever have.
You're lunching with an old friend. She's
no situation so bad or so adverse that a few well-chosen words from you cannot make it worse. So bite your tongue and smile. We know that's hard to do, but speak and you'll regret it. Our guarantee to you.
Your girlfriend's getting dressed one night to go out on the town. Her outfit's tight and skimpy, though the lady is quite round. She turns to you and queries, do I look fat in this dress? You merely speak those fatal words.
The answer, dear, is yes. Oops. There is no situation so bad or so adverse that a few well-chosen words from you cannot make it worse. So bite your tongue and smile. We know that's hard to do, but speak and you'll regret it. Our guarantee to you.
Listen to that inner voice that sounds just like a gong. That voice will always tell you true and never steer you wrong. So when it echoes through your head, you better listen up. Especially when the message that it's shouting is shut up! Your brother phones you up one day and he is crying so. He says his wife has left him for the local tennis pro. You summon up your willpower and carefully don't say, good riddance, no big loss here.
Never liked her anyway. There is no situation so bad or so adverse that a few
Dinner was just off. Your body's not so great.
So bite your tongue and
Get a
smile.
transplant. You smell just like a bar.
But
Your
speak
friends
and
don't
you'll
really
regret
like
it.
you.
Our
A jerk is what you are. Listen to that inner voice that sounds just like a gong.
That
Voice will always tell you true and never steer you wrong. So when it echoes through your head, you better listen up. Especially when the message that it's shouting is shut up. Especially when the message that it's shouting is shut up.
Of course, you guys do know what the difference is between in-laws and outlaws.
Outlaws are usually wanted.
We're going to go to Scotland now. This is a traditional Scottish song about someone being transported either to North America or to Australia, depending on the time period. I'm somehow thinking it's Australia, but I'm not absolutely sure about that. It's called Jamie Rayburn, and the tune is very closely related to the Tramps and Hawkers tune. I've heard people, let's see, Ossian, the Scottish group, did it. So did Ed Miller and Bobby Watt from Canada. It sounds a lot like this. Oh, my name is Jamie Rayburn. In Glasgow I was born. From my place of habitation I now must leave in scorn. From my place of habitation I now must go on, far from the bonny hills and kiss to my sweetheart, young Catherine is her name. No more we'll walk by Clyde's clear streams, or by the broomy lawn. Farewell, ye bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. Oh, my name is Janie Rayburn. In Glasgow I was born. From my place of habitation I now must leave it sworn. From my place of habitation I now must go on, far from the bonny hills and dales of Caledonia. Really like that song. And I'll do another instrument switch. It seems we do a lot of that in our shows, but it's sort of what we do. This is a song from the Napoleonic era that Susan will set up.
Yes, indeed, although I do have the songwriter's disease. Occasionally I will pick up a traditional song just because a lot of them are too good not to. Same as a performance at the coffee house. Things get dropped and have to be picked up.
Yeah. You
Anyway.
may see a cat wander around the.
Yeah. They mostly are bored now. When we first started streaming, they would want to get in on the show. Now they're like, we'll just have a nap instead. But some people seem to think that the phenomenon of people feeling like they were born into the wrong gender is a new thing, is 21st century phenomenon, and it isn't. And as Phil said, this is a 200 or so year old song. It is one of many about young women who decided to live as men, either because they didn't like the kind of life that women were expected to lead or because they wanted to follow a lover. They had to work as hard as the men and keep up or they'd be discovered. Now the young woman in this song does get discovered, but it's not for that. And we think she doesn't probably stay there when she gets home. Called The Female Drummer. Pretty drummer boy like you, so now I must return to my home again. All right.
And now we're going to do a child ballad.
That is not necessarily a song for children, however. This one, if you watch any of the police procedural shows that are out there, Phil is extremely fond of those. The plot in this song is pretty much the same one that you'd find in one of those, except it's wrapped up in 5 or 6 minutes instead of an hour. People are happy. No goodnik comes along and spoils that. Justice is done.
Pretty much. Like CSI Clydeside, or Tyneside, depending on where you are. This is the cruel brother, and you may wonder why she's willing all her possessions away as she's dying. And you have to remember that this was probably a pre-literate culture, and that very few people could read and write, so you needed witnesses.
And this type of song has a refrain that has very little to do with the song, and we are not sure whether they made them that way so people could sing, which you may do at home if you want, or whether it was just to enable the singer to remember the next verse. Either way, here we go, The Cruel Brother.
There were 3 sisters lived in a hall, by the rose and the lily gay, and its pie come a night and he's courted them all, and the roses are the redder eye. The first one she was dressed in red, I the rose and the lily gay, would you come with me and be my bride, and the roses are the redder eye. The second one she was song dates back probably to about the year 900 or so. And speaking of that era, that sort of leads us to the next song, which is a bit cheerier in countenance than the last one. Just give you guys a break.
One of the things that we do to make money when we're on the road is to present musical services for Unitarian Universalist churches, and we actually managed to get one on clothing and the effect it has on people and the people around them. And people I knew would ask, where am I going to wear fancy clothing? And the answer is, if you are interested at all in history, pick a period, go reenact. And I don't know why, when this song popped out for that service, the speaker in it is man, and why it's Renaissance period, because we do garb of many different periods, but not that one. And I think the tuning's okay.
Just like live shows, we have to tune because we care.
It's also very damp here.
Yeah, it's cool outside, but with the rain, it's turned the humidity index up a bit. Thus is life.
All right, Weekend Renaissance Man. Oh, I was brought up in a time when all men dressed in gray, but even as a boy I craved the colors of the day. And then the 1960s came when rainbow colors ruled. I grew my hair and beard out, which impressed the kids at school. All through the 1970s I dressed in hues so bright that I lit up the city streets when walking out at night. But then I got a job 'cause I was sick of eating beans. I traded in my hippie clothes for working shirts and jeans. While working on construction I could keep my hair and beard, but brightly colored clothing made the guys think I was weird. A girl that I'd been dating took me to the Renaissance fair. Oh, I was dazzled by the men in brilliant garments there. So now I wield the sword, sometimes will raise the wizard's wand, in flowing shirts that glittered like the feathers of a swan, with jerkins all in jewel colors, nothing here is grand. In hopes of purple velvet, I'm your weekend Renaissance man. I worked so hard to learn to brandish swords at thieves and louts. Though I was scared of horses, still I had to learn to joust. I found that I could sing, and so I studied at the lute. Those wenches in their low-cut blouses all were mighty cute. I met a pretty plump one in a dress of scarlet red. She told me I was handsome, well, the words went to my head. I read my love in royal blue, embroidered all in gold. Though that was 30 years ago, we aren't getting old. All week we play with our grandchildren, swing them through the air. But when the weekends come, we're driving off to work the fairs. The girl we wore when we were younger fits our figures still. The fresh air and the exercise keep us from getting ill. So still I wield the sword, sometimes will raise the wizard's wand, in flowing shirts that glittered like the feathers of a swan, with jerkins all in jewel colors, nothing here is grand. In hopes of purple velvet, I'm your weekend Renaissance man.
And while we're on the fashion topic, we're going to sing a traditional American song that I first heard in 4th grade when I was growing up in the Fox Valley area at Wasco Elementary School. And there was a Canadian folk singer that came to our school to do an assembly when I was in 4th grade, and he sang this song. This is the first time I heard serious a cappella singing, and well, this isn't a serious song at all, but
It's just a plain old silly song.
somebody didn't have an instrument and just sang. And he managed to keep at least me entertained. I can't vouch for my classmates or the rest of the school, but one person at a time is how they do it. Will you wear red, oh my dear, oh my dear? Will you wear red, Jenny Jenkins?
No, I won't wear red. It's the color in my head.
Buy me a Polly Raleigh dilly dally, seek a double, use it cause a roll to find me. Roll, Jenny Jenkins, roll. Will you wear green, oh my dear, oh my dear? Will you wear green, Jenny Jenkins?
No, I won't wear green. It's a shame to be seen.
Buy me a Polly Raleigh dilly dally, seek a double, use it cause a roll to find me. Roll, Jenny Jenkins, roll. Will you wear blue, oh my dear, oh my dear? Will you wear blue, Jenny Jenkins?
No, I won't wear blue 'cause the color ain't true.
Buy me a Polly Raleigh dilly dally, seek a double, use it cause a roll to find me. Roll, Jenny Jenkins, roll. Will you wear chartreuse, oh my dear, oh my dear? Will you wear chartreuse, Jenny Jenkins?
No, I won't wear chartreuse. It's the color of a moose.
Buy me a Polly Raleigh dilly dally, seek a double, use it cause a roll to find me. Roll, Jenny Jenkins, roll. Will you wear purple, oh my dear, oh my dear? Will you wear purple, Jenny Jenkins?
No, I won't wear purple. It's the color of a turtle.
Buy me a Polly Raleigh dilly dally, seek a double, use it cause a roll to find me. Roll, Jenny Jenkins, roll. Will you wear gold, oh my dear, oh my dear? Will you wear gold, Jenny Jenkins?
Yes, I will wear gold. It's the color of the soul.
Buy me a Polly Raleigh dilly dally, seek a double, use it cause a roll to find me. Roll, Jenny Jenkins, roll. Well, so much for colorful attire. And now we're going to do Susan's song, which is like the child ballads meet the Untouchables.
Yes, this one was inspired. Well, I'm not even sure if inspired was the wrong word, but kind of like prompted by my listening to Richard Thompson singing, 1952 Vincent Black Lightning on my way up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan one year. And once I crossed the border, it was time to stop listening to the song and being there. And the story kind of just came to me and all at once, and it was done in my head by the time I got to the cabin 4 hours later. Never written another song that way before or since. So I really do think there's something real about these people. And in the middle of the process, I figured out that it was not set in contemporary America, but in Chicago in the 1920s, which was quite a scene, I understand. And those of you in Chicago know that Graceland Cemetery is that big cemetery up by the lake with lots of old graves in it. And Uptown's gone through many changes over the years as well. This is called Anna and Tim. The gravestone was a showplace with treasures you can find. Miss Anna was its owner back in 1929. Tim handed her $10. She told him, come lay down.
others who can pay. You'll need it for your college. That was all she had to say.
She told him, I remember that when I was young and green, I had to make it on my own since I was just 14. I'm proud of all I have because I've earned it free and clear. Mobsters, they all hate me, for of them I have no fear.
I swear they'll bring their Tommy guns and cut me down one day. So just you watch your back, boy, that was all that she could say.
One early winter evening, when the snow was falling hard, Jim found the gravestone empty, so he looked out in the yard. There ran a leg, her lifeblood raining out into the snow. He tried to stop the bleeding, but she told him, darling, no.
It's much too late already. Kiss my lips and say adieu. There's no one else who's loved me, boy, in all this world but you.
He buried her in Graceland. There was no one else around. He left a dozen blood red roses on the frozen ground. Next day, her lawyer called and said she left it all to you. The house, the cars, the furniture, and lots of money too.
I don't know why she did it, but it's sure your lucky day. And Tim just stood there weeping. There was nothing he could say.
Tim grew up, he got married, the baby's number 3. He raised them in the house where Anna's business used to be. And in the early morning, Tim would watch his children play upon the very spot where Anna died that winter's day.
The years went by, the block went bad. The kids said, move away. This old house means a lot to me. That was all that he would say.
And there's a double plot in Graceland over where the L trains roll. One stone is carved with Anna, just her name and nothing more. The other's marked with Tim and shows his dates of death and birth. Now the star-crossed lovers sleep together in the earth.
There's a place beyond this world where lovers meet, I pray. Their souls are reunited in some new and brighter day.
And their love will live forever. Now there's nothing more to say.
We'll send you on a mental vacation back to Scotland after that. This is a tune called Rosslyn Castle. Again, it's a couple hundred years old. Learned from the fiddle playing of Alistair Fraser. If you've never heard him play fiddle, you should.
From the first time I heard this tune, I thought if it wasn't part of a 1960s spy movie, it should have been. Probably wasn't. That's the way it feels. Great tune.
Well, we're going to lighten things up a little with a chorus song that I learned from the first John Roberts and Tony Barron album. I bought that album in high school, and we were thinking of that the other day, and thought, why don't we do it for this show? And it sounds a lot like this. Speaking of a cappella. Martin said to his man, "Fie, man, fie." Martin said to his man, "Who's the fool now?" Martin said to his man, "Fill thou the cup and I the can. Thou hast well drunken, man. Who's the fool now?" I saw the man in the moon, fie, man, fie. I saw the man in the moon. Who's the fool now? I saw the man in the moon, clouting up St. Peter's shoon. Thou hast well drunken, man. Who's the fool now? I saw the hare chase the hound, fie, man, fie. I saw the hare chase the hound. Who's the fool now? I saw the hare chase the hound 20 miles above the ground. Thou hast well drunken, man. Who's the fool now? I saw a flea heave a tree, fie, man, fie. I saw a flea heave a tree. Who's the fool now? I saw a flea heave a tree 15 miles out to sea. Thou hast well drunken, man. Who's the fool now? I saw a mouse chase a cat, fie, man, fie. I saw the mouse chase the cat. Who's the fool now? I saw the mouse chase the cat, saw the cheese eat the rat. Thou hast well drunken, man. Who's the fool now? I saw a maid milk a bull, fie, man, fie. I saw a maid milk a bull. Who's the fool now? I saw a maid milk a bull, every stroke a bucket full. Thou hast well drunken, man. Who's the fool now? Oh, Martin said to his man, fie, man, fie. Martin said to his man, "Who's the fool now?" Martin said to his man, "Fill thou the cup and I the can. Thou hast well drunken, man. Who's the fool now?"
All right. One of those silly drinking songs. Well, we've got time for one more song here, looks like. And
I'd like to thank everybody involved with the Two-Way Street presenting this virtual broadcast, and can't thank you enough for having us. We really appreciate it.
And a few years back, we started getting interested in the writings of a man named John Shelby Spong. He's the retired Episcopal Bishop of Newark, New Jersey. And we went to see him speak once, and someone asked him at a question and answer session after the talk how he'd gotten close to God. And instead of talking about something, kind of esoteric and private, he talked about how in his own life and in the life of the church he had overcome racism, misogyny, and homophobia. And all the time when you read his writings, he will stress over and over again the way to live a good life is to live fully, love wastefully, and be all that you can be. And message of hope here, and we need it now. Way down in Mississippi, back in 1964, a woman of 18 was courted by a college man. The problem was that she was white and he had skin as dark as night. Daddy was a member of the local Ku Klux Klan. They parted ways with tears of anger, bitterness, and grief. And 45 long years had passed before they met again. Inauguration in D.C., the startled eyes, oh yes, it's me. Married in the springtime with magnolias blooming. Live fully, love wastefully, be everything you're capable of being. Despite the hate, despite the fear, companions on our journey. But in the end, the love we leave behind will heal it all. The girl was born in 1950, swaddled all in pink.
gracefully everything you're capable of being. Despite the hate, despite the fear, companions on our journey. But in the end, the love we leave behind will heal it all. But in the end, the love we leave behind will heal it all. Well, again, Susan and I would like to thank the Two-Way Street Coffee House for having February Sky on for one of its virtual performances. And we will now mute our microphones and turn it back over to Denny. And again, thank you all so much. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
We will see you at the festival next weekend, where we're doing a recorded set and doing a workshop with Claudia Schmidt and Sally Rogers, and we'll check the schedule to see if anything else is going on. And anyway, thank you all so much.
Stay safe, stay well. Stay safe, stay well.
Wasn't that wonderful? That was February Sky, our dear friends who now live in the, what is it, the Ooper? They're Oopers now. They live up there in northern Michigan.
Yeah.
where it
Youpers,
isn't
yes, it's about
95
60
all
degrees
the
now.
time. Lucky them.
Youpers, yes, it's about
Youpers.
60 degrees now.
Perfect weather up in the Upper Peninsula. Anyway, join us tomorrow for Eric Lambert and his Once in a Blue Moon Bluegrass event starting at 2 o'clock. It is a Zoom event, and the Zoom meeting information is on our website as well as on Facebook. And of course, come back next Friday night to hear Sparky and Rhonda Rucker. They'll do a wonderful show on Friday night, and they also will be performing at the Fox Valley and I always get this mixed up, the Fox Valley Music and Folk and Storytelling Festival. There it is. I got it out. And there are many, many more performers. I believe the website, let me just review my notes here, is FVFS at www.fvfs.org. Got it. Okay. The schedule should be up in a day or so. Please go from show to show, and don't forget to go to the ticket page and buy a donation. Stay well, and we'll be very pleased when we can all be together at our wonderful, cozy Two-Way Street Coffee House. But until then, take care.